With the excitement of a Bumblebee movie, there's definitely one thing that's getting fans hyped, and that is the designs on Cybertron of the Autobots and Decepticons. But with all this excitement, you may be scratching your heads as well as to thinking, wait, why aren't the Protoforms designs the ones we see on Cybertron? Why have they been redone for this particular movie? And well, the answer's actually pretty simple. Not to sound pessimistic, but it really does come down to them wanting you to go watch the movie. Because as the film is set in the 80s, this is sort of the best time to celebrate the Transformers. Because the brand is over 30 years old now. And well, let's just say, the Protoforms designs from the Michael Bay directed movies are simplistic and boring. Now when I say boring, I'm talking about like, there's nothing standing out about them. You can't really tell who is who. And I for one would rather see characters who I could tell in a battlefield than just random metal robots fighting each other. While tweaked for both sides of the Autobots and Decepticons, have looked pretty much the same. We know this because of action sequences like in Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon. They would reuse the same protoform over and over again to add more soldiers of the Decepticons to the battlefield. Now I just want to make note, I'm not talking about the main core characters of the Transformers movies on the Autobots and Decepticon side, I'm just talking about the Cybertron designs. Now even if you think those designs are cool, when you're trying to tell a story, it really doesn't work well as a narrative piece. It works well as sort of background noise, like oh you've got robots fighting, that's cool. Plus, it was a design that they could easily replicate and not spend so much on budget creating designs for each individual Cybertron character. Because that's another thing as well, budget. Why wasn't the designs different from the 2007 movie? Well, we didn't really get a Cybertron flashback. We got Megatron attacking a Protoform, but we didn't actually see like a big sequence battle like we're getting in the Bumblebee movie. Even though we had that sequence in Dark of the Moon, there wasn't anything that drew us to the planet. It was just sort of wide shots of the planet, observing it, not actually on the ground. So the narrative to tell the Transformers story wasn't fleshed out and not really put out there in the original movie. That's why in previous movies they would kind of develop that story over time. But it just didn't really set well with fans. One of the most interesting things about the Transformers is Cybertron, their home planet. How did they get from there to Earth? If you remember the initial design of Cybertron from Generation 1 that would be developed in different continuities of the Transformers, the city was vibrant. Like you could see the damage, but it also had a lot of story to it. Like by just looking at Cybertron, you could tell this planet has history. It kind of reminds me of a Blade Runner dystopian world a little bit. You know, it's very vibrant in its colours while at the same time being dark and really gritty. The Fall of Cybertron and War of Cybertron games really had a good advantage of developing Cybertron a lot better because the narrative of those games were on Cybertron, so we got to see way more of that, and it just made fans crave more. And while the Bumblebee movie wants to pay tribute to that, while at the same time getting at your nostalgia. See, with the failure of Transformers Last Night, Paramount have started to realise that doing the same stuff over and over again is not going to draw in new audiences. And with Michael Bay retiring from the franchise, it was time for a new guy to come along, and while Travis Knight, being a hardcore fan of the original Transformers, wanted to pay tribute to that. And well, if you've noticed recently in Hollywood, the 80s theme has been coming back, with a lot of movies from the 80s returning, rebooted, and brought into television. So we're entering this period where the 80s was amazing, so let's celebrate it. And well, the Transformers are now taking part in that. See, although this is a prequel to the original 2007 movie, it doesn't stop them from changing bits of the mythology. Like recently, Bumblebee's characters completely changed mythologies from what we already thought we knew. And why? Because this timeline is an endless continuity mess which will be shape-shifted each movie to fit the narrative of a story. Now of course it's bad for continuity's sake, but modern audiences don't really think about it too much. And they should, don't get me wrong, modern audiences should know what they're getting into and they should remember from a previous movie. And they don't because the movies are too convoluted to really remember, wait, what happened last time? All I remember is that the planet was turning into this giant thing and there was dinosaurs in the last one. We don't actually remember pivotal storylines because, well, the storylines are kind of a bit of a mess. But for hardcore fans who do pay attention with this lore and do spot out the continuity errors, like myself, it is a head scratch sometimes. But I am glad that they have taken the direction in this new movie, because it actually gives the characters on Cybertron personalities. Of course, they are different from the initial flashbacks of Cybertron before, but it works better for the film, at least on a design point of view, because you can actually tell who is fighting who now, and it makes a Cybertron scene, a Cybertron flashback, work in this movie now. because you can tell who is Optimus Prime, you can tell who Soundwave is. That's why the Bumblebee trailer went so huge, especially with the Starscream that turned out to be Blitzwing reveal, because people instantly recognized that design. And when we got the second trailer of Soundwave, Optimus Prime, all that kind of stuff, people were excited. They actually had hope in this movie delivering on something from their childhoods. They are playing with your nostalgia, they are playing with that. But I do think it's also a tribute. I don't think it's just money greed, at least on a creative side. But each movie has tried a different way to make you go watch it. The second film was Devastator and new Autobot characters. The third one was Driller, Shockwave, and the ending climax to the trilogy. Well, the fourth one was Dinobots. You know, we got robot dinosaurs. The fifth one, I think they were really trying to scramble on what to get us involved with that one. Well, I'm not really quite sure what it was. But what is the Bumblebee movie giving us? Well, a compelling story with a small roster that actually develops its characters, both robots and humans, and it gives us the designs that fans have been wanting from the very beginning. Whether or not this movie will turn out good is one thing, of course we'll have to wait and see. The film is coming out very soon now, but I just see a lot of comments, people saying that this is a soft reboot because of these contradictions, and unfortunately this is just not the case, although it should be, and I don't know where this, who knows, in the future they could probably just retcon all of this, because each movie they seem to be retconning. But as this is a confirmed prequel, I guess we'll have to wait until the film comes out to really make our judgment, but by all the evidence so far, this seems to be the direction the Transformers are going in, so don't expect to see any grey metal protoforms anytime soon, and I think that's for the best. This has been Comedy and Cam. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get all updates, especially on the Bumblebee movie, instantly. Until the next video, goodbye.